Streaming cyberspace into your place, Worldwide Technology Raceway plays host to the OBRL and round 28 of the 2025 Sunday Night Cup Series, sponsored by YesterYear Racing. And you can watch all the simulated NASCAR action live as it happens right here on the Virtual Drift Network. A warm gateway to the West. Hello and welcome on this Sunday night, September 7th, 2025. The Professor, John Three-Wide Hine, joins yours truly, Bill Soupson, hi, from the VGN broadcast booth to bring you our Words Eye View replay. Ryan Seneca, turn the knobs, pushing the sliders. Professor, the regular season is over. We are now one full race into the round of 16 postseason with a win in the last round. Ed Darlington, Dwayne MacArthur, who has been really one of the dominant forces all season, secured his place in the round of 12. So what does Raceway have in store for, yes, the entire field, but especially for the 15 drivers hoping to join MacArthur in the next playoff here?
Well, this is a track that can be a landmine for a lot of drivers here, because this is a unique track. It's got two different ends to it. You know, turns 1 and 2, it's a tight radius. You're coming down a very long front stretch there. You got to get on the brakes to make that corner. It's easy to overdrive that corner. You know, there's not really visual points, you know, like numbers up on the wall that can help you figure out where you've got to lift at. 3 and 4 is a long sweeping turn, you know, and Soup, the best way that I can say this is it almost feels a lot like New Hampshire out there at Loudon over in 3 and 4, long sweeping turn, and then turns 1 and 2, they're not quite as tight as Martinsville, but as fast as you're going, it feels like Martinsville down there. So, yeah, a lot of challenges, a lot of shifting. I think you're going to see guys shifting quite a bit throughout the race here tonight.
That's funny. You know, you talked about New Hampshire and Martinsville, where passing is really a premium. Is that what we're looking at? Is qualifying really, really, really important here? Or do you have, with 130 laps, enough time to get up through the field?
Yeah, qualifying is really, really important here with these guys, especially this field here. You know, these guys, there's so many fast guys in here. There's 10 or 15 guys that can win every time out. I mean, you know, anybody in the field can win, first of all, but there's 10 or 15 that are consistently fast. And if you give any of those guys an advantage right off the get-go, it makes for a very, very, very long day.
Qualifying going on right now. While it is going on, let's take a quick look at our points graphic here. Now, this is interesting. What we're going to show you is the column on the left are the guys that are in the chase. The column on the right, the guys that took all season long and missed the chase. They're out there just racing for momentum for next year. Then you can see down the chart, Dwayne MacArthur, because of the win we mentioned in the opening, win and you're in. He's locked that in there, but then we're looking for the top 12 to get into the next round. It goes all the way down. Then you see the 4 guys at the bottom. They got some work cut out for them. Still plenty of time to get there, but, well, they're not there yet. And what's interesting is look at the guy at the very bottom. That's a guy I know very well. I've covered a few of his races, talking about Josh Robinson. We were kind of joking. Josh, very dominant. Wonder if he's just going to show up like every 3 races, pick up his win in advance. Josh, we miss you. Hope we see you next round, buddy.
Yeah, Josh is defending series champion here, so kind of interesting that he hasn't been here. But you know, it's a tight race around that cut line. You know, with Victor Lane, Tommy Massey, Andy Thomas, Mark Fish, those guys. You know, they've got to have a good race here. So they've got to make sure that they stay out of trouble, mind their P's and Q's, get to that third race, and then kind of let everything kind of hang out there. But you don't want to be knocked out of contention where you got to go to the next round where it's an in or your win. But when you're 8-10 points back, even 11 going back to Dan Hill, if you have a really solid finish here, top 5 finish here, you may go into the next week either on the positive side of that cut line or even a spot or 2 below it. I mean, and not far out. You just want to avoid disaster here this week.
Qualifying still going in. The numbers are coming in, and Dwayne MacArthur was sitting at the top there with a 33.4 flat. And Tom Ogle came in, put in a 33.4 flat, beat him by 1/1000th of a second. So look for Tom Ogle to be on the side.
Yeah, and if you know those two, there's kind of a little bit of a frenemies, friendly rivalry going in between those two. So good stuff there. No, Andrew Koska just went and knocked them both down.
Koska also very
right at the buzzer,
high in the point. He did indeed. We have a field of 24 here. 18 of them have put in qualifying times. Drivers that did not get in times. One of my favorite drivers. Well, down at the bottom, Scott Negus was the slowest of everyone. And we'll go ahead, we'll take a second and run through the field right now, as this is a big track, so we only have one lap to do it. I'll take the front row, and my partner talked about it, Andrew Koska. He's in the chase. He's sitting on the pole. He's flanked by Tom Gogo Ogle.
Starting in the second row is going to be the number 83 of Dwayne MacArthur. Next to him is the 92 of James Hislop.
Sitting in fifth, cooking with hot fish grease, is Robert Crisco with Andrew Medlin outside of him.
Greg McDaniel and Sean Foltz will occupy row number 4.
Jerry Isaac sits in the 9th spot. The 10th spot is populated by Brian Lynch.
Starting 11th is Tommy Amassi, and to his outside, Andy Thomas.
In the Baker's Dozen spot, it's Dan Hill. I sure hope this guy's middle name starts with E. In the 14th spot, it's Victor Lane, sorry.
Torrance Childs will roll off 15th. To his outside, the number 81 of Chris Bate.
Clay Walker will be starting 17th, flanked by the Canadian, Scott Negus.
78 of Courtney Nelson is scheduled to roll off 19th. Next to him will be Lloyd Moore.
Todd Cousins, a name I'm familiar with from the Bootleg Racing League. Well, he's going to do a little cross-pollination here. Hitting blackjack. In the double duck spot, it's Roger Hurley.
And the last row, shotgun on the field, is going to be the number 4 of Dakota Pischke and the 56 of Nicholas Self. And Soup, there were some penalties. End of the line penalties are going to go to Courtney Nelson, Roger Hurley, and Dakota Pischke.
You know, you said shotgun on the field, then you said Dakota. You know, if anybody's going to race with a shotgun, it's going to be a guy with the name Dakota.
I would agree.
All right. No parade lap at a big track like this. We'll give one lap. The perfectly mesmerizing Josie Kirkland will bring the pace car in and turn control of the field over to Andrew Koska. Kostra having a good season. Well up in the chase. Feeling pretty comfortable. You can recognize the drivers in the chase. They all are having a pink banner on their windshield and a pink spoiler as well. Pink was an interesting choice of colors for drivers in the chase. All right, glad you are with us here at the gateway to the west. We wait, 130 laps on tap. Gather at the chicken's egg, covering on the cows because the horses are out of the barn, and we got a drag race down into the first corner. Oh my goodness, on the outside is Ogle. He goes really wide. Look at him roll the momentum up top. But no, now the shorter way around is going to prevail for Koska on the inside. Nope. Look at that number 11 pull away up top. Uh-oh. What's up?
He's got to maybe do a drive-through. Yep, only for a drive-through. Boy, that's going to he's going to be begging for a caution here pretty quick after he rejoins the track. That's going to hand the lead to Koska. He's going to have Dwayne MacArthur right hot on his tail.
Okay, John, you got to help me out because I'm new to the series. Do you think that was an iRacing slapped penalty for the drive-through maybe on the start? Or is that something from the week before?
I think it might have been an iRacing thing because he's got a black flag when I pull up the entries here. So iRacing gave him a black flag. I don't know if he beat the leader to the line. Tough break for Tom Ogle.
That is plenty of time, though. Be interesting to see if Ogle can get back out on the lead. Let's look at Ogle right now. This is going to be interesting. I think he is going to get out on the lead lap. He's coming back out on the track. He's on the back straight right now. The leaders are just going through 1 and 2.
Yeah, he'll stay on the lead lap, but he, luckily for him, he's got the pace to stay out there. He's not going to lose a lap. He's quick enough to stay up there and hopefully catch that yellow flag because that's really what he's going to need now.
But what we can learn from that is gives us an idea of what maybe a splash and go might be like if that was part of the strategy. We get to the end of the race, that you might be able to do it and stay out there on the lead lap if you are out in front.
100%.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about the drivers who weren't penalized. Koska out in front, MacArthur in second, James Hislop racing in third.
Yeah, the drivers have really gotten a single file here, Soup. I think, this is a track, like I said, it's a very challenging track. Two ends of the track, they're very, very different. You got to do everything different in the car, from where you're turning in to what you're doing on the brakes. I think guys are just feeling their way out, but there is a good battle back here. Tommy Amassi is on the outside, and looks like Scott Negus is trying to pass him on the inside.
Negus, very competitive driver, but he was late to the series. That's why he's not in the chase. John, you talked about the drivers being busy. I'm used to doing a short track stuff where it's basically just lifting. But here, not only are you lifting, I guess you're braking, and you're also shifting.
Yep, you're dancing in the cockpit, as I like to say. You got your feet going, you got your hands going. You've even got to have that brain going to get that shifting, because if you shift wrong, it can kill your momentum. If you shift too early, and have too much speed going on, you'll spin the car out. The car will just loop around on you. So it's all a timing thing. You got to hit all three things just right. Turn in when you're getting out of the gas, when you're getting back into the gas, when you're shifting. Yeah, you got to have everything fully wired between the ears to get all that done.
We're right on board with Chris Psycho Bates here. As he looks at the traffic in front of him, nowhere to go. He's going to try to see if he can squeeze down underneath. That's Courtney Nelson to the top side. He's going to let them go away. If you're new to this series, I've been following it. Shaggy Chapman will be back next week to cover those. This series has a reputation of going very clean.
It does, and as we're watching, as you're talking earlier, the battle there with Negus and Amassi, then you got Nelson there behind him. Nelson actually had an EOL, and he's already picked his way through. This is going to be a guy that you're going to watch. I'll bet you before we get too far into this, you're going to see him knocking in the top 10. He might even get up to the top 5.
We're looking at that battle with Negus. And he's going to get the best of a step on the top side. Oh, look at the bottom line. I think he's about to pull away, but no, then they lose momentum. That top side gets a good roll. That's Massey up there trying to work on the outside of the 78. Courtney Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson's hooking the bottom really, really well. And this is where the shifting can come in, because going down to, fourth gear and even possibly third gear, give you a really good run up out of the corner there, and Nelson's able to complete the pass on Amassi. Now he's going to go to work on Negus here in 3 and 4.
Boy, this is where the action is. You're not missing anything up front. Those guys are pretty much behaving. We'll check in if anyone makes a move up there. Back here in amongst it is where the action is. And I give these guys a tip of the hat for putting on a good show and a clean show. Nelson on the inside here. Now, you can't really see it, but to the outside is the 94 of Scott Negus and his McDonald's machine.
Yeah, and Soup, let me tell you how hard it is to be down there on the bottom, because if you overdrive it a little bit, the car wants to go right up the track. There's not a lot of banking here to catch you. So if you overdrive it, you stand a high risk of running into that guy on the outside, and it's awful early to start making enemies on the track. But Nelson finally gets the job done here and is going to move on to the next one.
Okay, now just ahead of the guy I want to talk to, we were looking at a battle there. That's the 51.
Oh, Amassi almost went around. Woo! Heck of a save on the 05.
Keeps it going straight. So we saw there the battle for 6th position. McDaniel now in 6th. Jerry Isaac in 7th. The driver I want to talk about is right behind these guys. You'll see him at the top of the screen right there. It is Dan Hill. He's started in 13th position, racing in 8th, has picked up 5 spots. He's got a long way to go to get to Isaac and McDonald ahead of him. Sorry, McDaniel.
Yeah, we call him Black Cat Soup, and it's because this guy has 9 lives, it seems. We've seen him get into trouble, not always of his own making, a lot of times not of his own making, actually, and he'll drive back up through the field and secure top 5s, top 3s. I don't know how many times Zach has written them off, and then the guy ended up on the podium. So good driver, very, very solid driver, and he's one that's capable of winning this championship. I would actually easily put him in one of the championship favorites.
There's a little two-wide battle back here for 17th position. They get it sorted out. We were looking at Cousins involved in that one, Hurley in the mix.
Oh, Isaac is going to have a good run down the back. Oh, the one-car overdrive there, and then I guess Isaac cut him a break there. I really thought he was going to go under him there.
I sure hope this guy's middle name is Emmanuel, so he can be Victor E. Lane. And we're talking about car number 10. He is under attack here from the 77. I guarantee you his parents are race fans. There's no way you name your kid Victor Lane without mom and dad doing something subtle.
Yeah, his son runs in here too. I haven't seen him in a couple, 2-3 weeks, but son's a pretty good little driver too. Does a real good job when he's in here.
A little two-wide battle we're looking at. I believe this is Nelson on the inside. Crisco on the outside. Boy, it's a drag race. Cialis bathtubs as they come across the line. The top line's going to prevail.
Courtney is just
here we go.
Courtney's just picking him up and laying him down. Remember, he had an EOL, so he was thinking, oh, big slide for the 78. That's not going to make the tires happy, but he has really motored his way through the field here.
All right, John, before we went live, we talked about tire, we talked about fuel run, and because these guys, this is something we wouldn't talk about if without a reputation of these guys running long green flag runs. Do you think you can run the tank dry, or do you think the tires, are you going to slow down, lose so much you'll have to come in before you need fuel?
Well, I think you're going to see a mixture. I think you're going to see some guys maybe run it as long as what they can on those tires. Coming out front like Koska, he doesn't have anybody in front of him. He's not really abusing the tires. There's nobody taking the nose, air off the nose to make him use the nose more. So I think you're going to see a hodgepodge, but I do think for most of these guys, I think the tires will probably go south on them before they need fuel.
That's Andrew Medlin in 4th. James Hislop in 3rd. They've got quite a distance before they get to Dwayne MacArthur, but they were in a little battle. And I think kind of slowed both of them down. And, well, here's a guy that I get to announce in the IROC series put on by YesterYear. Sean Foltz, he's racing back there in 5th. And he is now under attack. Here comes Greg McDaniel. Good racing.
Yeah, guys see opportunities, and you can see it on the track when guys kind of bail out of things. That's a mutual respect on the track here, and that's what I think makes this series so great and these drivers so great. You do see a lot of give and take out there, and man, it produces great racing. But I'll tell you guys, Soup, I've been watching that 78 and that 28. Those guys side by side now for probably about a half a dozen laps. I think Nelson thinks he gets him clear, and I think he's finally going to get him clear now that I've said something. And I was going to say, Garisco just gets these great runs off the top. Now the question is going to be, did that 78, how bad did he have to abuse those tires working him over like that?
Up 10 spots is Courtney Nelson. Started in 19th.
Yeah, and that was his starting position. Now, remember, he had an EOL, so he had to go back. So he was probably about 21, 22 is probably where he was at.
Holy smokes. All right, here's the inside line. This is Isaac working, see if he can get by around McDaniels. McDaniels with the momentum on the top. They come across the line. McDaniels going to get credit for being ahead that lap. But now, let's see how it plays out through 1 and 2. Boy, these guys do a good job of keeping off each other, give each other just enough space, but yet not a whole bunch of space. Look at that camera shot.
Yeah, these guys have been amazing all season to watch. You know, I'm going to be a little bit sad when the season ends. You know, Daytona will be a couple months away yet, so hopefully we get to broadcast them again next year.
And amazingly, those guys were side by side, and honestly, they did not lose a whole lot of ground to the guys they were trying to run down. They seem pretty quick, whether they're running single file or side by side. Boy, but watch out for the yellow number 1 of Greg McDaniel. He is coming.
Yeah, he is. And you know, I said it earlier at the top of the show. I mean, there's always, you know, 10, 15 guys that can win races here, and you're seeing that now. I mean, Koska's kind of checked out, but I mean, you've got 2nd through 9th, bumper to bumper, all the way around the track.
Oh my goodness, the guy picking them off one by one like little stand-up Native American at the shooting gallery is Courtney Nelson. Jeez, he's coming. Meanwhile, we got a battle up front. We thought that Medlin might have, I thought he was going to lose it there for a minute, but he keeps it going.
Yeah, and I've seen this with a few guys coming out of turn 2. The thing is, you've got a lot of wheel because that's a tight turn, and when you get out of that corner and you're throttling up, you want to let that car, and the car wants to kind of drift all the way out to the wall. But when you got to keep wheel in it to not hit the guy on the outside and you're gassing up, it is so easy with the power of these Cup cars to kick that back end loose. It is such a fine line between getting forward drive off and trying to save yourself from spinning out.
I know the drivers are putting on a great show, but maybe that show being
Nelson's
put on
got another one.
is by the racetrack. Man, Gateway's putting on a great run. I can't decide, as Nelson continues to motor there. Now Hill gets a good run on the outside. I can't decide, is it the inside line or the outside line that's preferred? Boy, what a great run from Hill as he was battling with Nelson. Now he moves up inside of the yellow number 1 of Greg Daniels.
Yeah, and right there, right there, if he could let that car drift out to the wall, oh, he would be so much faster. That's the tough part about having that guy on the outside and be able to get that momentum going. But now look, he looked somewhere else, and that opened the door for the 78 car.
I'm going to meet my 6th grade geometry teacher, Sister Mary Catherine. Hope you're watching, Sister. Very happy when I talk about the shape of this track. It's an ovoid.
It's egg-shaped.
Yeah, it is.
Egg-shaped.
So what does that mean? What are the two corners different? I mean, obviously one is tighter than the other, but what does it mean as let's watch Hill now. Boy, these guys put on a great show. Hill in a great battle with McDaniel. So what does that mean for these guys? Is one corner easier to pass?
No, they're both, you know, probably the same. You know, it's just how you complete the pass changes completely. Turns 1 here, you almost want to try to outbrake somebody, so maybe you can slide job them a little bit, slide up the track, just like what the 7 just did to the 1. And down here, you want to see if you can get on the throttle a little bit earlier, get on the inside, maybe get into the throttle earlier, so then you can get a better run down the front stretch and make the pass.
You can tell that it's a good show the drivers are putting on when we are on lap 27 and spent almost no time talking about Andrew Koska. Our contract calls for us to put the camera there, but we won't go there yet, Director. Let's stay back here. Normally, Professor, I would think, oh my goodness, this is where the action is. This is where the yellow flag is going to be cooked up. But man, these guys are polite when they race. They are competitive and clean.
Well,
130 laps.
I don't know if they're polite, but they're clean. And we do got a couple of Canadians out there, and they're always polite. So, but yeah, no, these guys, I can't tell you, Soup. You know, I've done I don't know how many of these races now with them, and yeah, each week is just it's just a pleasure to watch them. And I've actually got to race them during the week. Some of their other stuff, run the Xfinity car and their trucks with them a couple times, and being on track with them is even more eye-opening than even sitting here watching it. Guys hold their lines, you know. I hate to say it this way for other leagues, but you just don't see a lot of guys doing making knuckleheaded decisions. Guys just make really sound decisions. I mean, it's good decision making all the way through the field.
Boy, what a great camera shot there from our director. He was following the cars going down into the corner, then he panned up, saw the side-by-side coming down the straightaway. Well done. You talked about a Canadian. Let's check in on one of my favorites, the 94 is Scott Negus. He started in 18th position. He's up to 12th. Kind of racing all by himself right now. He's got a little bit of a hassle happening from Clay Walker back there in 13th. Got about 2 car lengths. Then a long way to go before he gets to Brian Lynch. Partner, tell me about the draft. Is that happening here, or is it just too short, not enough speed?
It doesn't happen here. Either you're too slow going through the corners, you're not really maintaining speed. So by the time you get up out of the corner and you get up to speed where the draft would actually probably matter, you're right to the point of almost having to lift again to get in the next set of corners.
Well, let me go the other direction there. Oh, I love working with you. I can pick stuff up. What about aero push? Not so much as you usually see?
Yes. No, you can still see aero push. You still got enough air on the tires to especially in 3 and 4. It's probably a little worse in 3 and 4 than 1 and 2, but you get aero push, believe it or not, even at Bristol. So especially in these cars, the new aero package that they released at the last build, I have noticed the aero push a little bit more, affecting the cars a little bit more.
I want to look at the 78 of Courtney Nelson. We've been following his success. Look at the different racing line that he takes now. He is chasing the number 7 of Hill. Don't prove me wrong here. Look how low Nelson hits the car. And while that's going on, we got a battle for second.
Yeah, they went side by side there into the wall. Went to 5th place car, but boy, I really thought we were going to have a move for second place there.
Oh no, he is really pestering. Yeah, we're talking about the 51 of Jerry Isaac. He was right on the back of the 59 of Sean Foltz.
Well,
on him.
Real quick, you're seeing the 92 go up the track a little bit. Right now, the tires are probably going through their first change here. Guys are probably for the first time realizing, hey, I can't do what I was doing on lap 5, 10. The tires are going through a transition right now. And by the way, Nelson got around Hill there.
I'm telling you, oh my goodness, he almost got into the back. I thought of Isaac, but he pulls and turns the wheel to the left and misses him.
He is hooking that bottom, isn't he?
Oh. Yeah, I got to figure he's going to pay a price. I don't know. We're only on lap 34. If there is tire wear, man, he is using, first of all, he's racing lower than anybody else, and now look up in front.
I actually don't know that he is, Soup. He's not overdriving the corner. If I seen him overdriving the corner a little bit, I would agree with you, but he isn't overdriving it. I mean, he's getting in just like everybody else is.
All right, low side against the high side. Let's see who gets it. Foltz down low, Medlin up high. The low side will prevail. They lose momentum. That's going to allow Isaac to get a run out of 2, down the back straight into 3. Let's see if the 51 dives it down in there. He does, taking it in deeper than Confucius in a submarine is the 51 of Jerry Isaacs. I think he's going to make the pass made, but he runs out of real estate because he gets almost into the back of Foltz. He has to check up a little bit, and that's going to let the 12 of Medlin prevail.
Yeah, but he's got to have position here down on 1 and 2. If he can hook the bottom like the 78, he'll make the pass. But he's up about a half a lane higher than that 78, though. Medlin into the wall on corner exit.
Oh, a little bit of a bump draft as Hill gives Isaac a push. Yeah. And back there, chopping at the bit, 3 wide. Is he going to do it? No, Nelson says not yet, Soup.
Isaac overdrove the corner a little bit, but he made it work. Good stuff here.
Oh, my goodness. Now they're lined up 1, 2, 3 on the top with Nelson underneath.
And
Nelson doesn't mind it down there. Well, if I can get into the helmet of Dan Hill, get behind Nelson. He's going places. The 78. All this going on behind Koska. We remember you, Andrew. We'll get to you in a second, buddy. Koska, Hislop, and MacArthur, 1, 2, 3. And then it's a hornet's nest.
You know, every time you ever say hornet's nest, I think a caution is probably imminent when you're talking about that group of cars that'll be running when you describe them that way. I don't think there's a caution imminent here.
Oh, not these guys. I should have said like a beehive because these guys are organized like the bees. Everyone has their role. And right now, the role of Courtney Nelson is to just come through the field.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, these guys are racing really, really hard. I mean, you know, I talked about give and take and whatnot. There's some of that going, but I mean, these guys really are running really hard at this point.
My goodness, we should race every race at Gateway.
Well, Soup, they do this every week, every track we go to. I kid you not.
Well, you know what? When iRacing gets a new track they want to promote, they should broadcast one of these races on it, because these guys make this, you know, it's kind of like a Pretty Woman. They make whatever they're wearing look really good. You know what? We talk about this. If I remember right, Darlington went green from checker to the green flag to the checker. That's hard to do at Darlington.
Well, and not only that, when we came back a second time, they only had one. So they did 2 Darlington races with 1 caution.
That's impressive. All right, our contract demands that we put the camera on the leader. Let's go ahead and check in. My goodness.
Yeah, at this point, he could pull over and have a coffee in Danish and get back out in the lead.
You know, he couldn't race in Switzerland. In Switzerland, it's against the law to own one guinea pig because they are prone to loneliness. My goodness, talk about a lonely driver. And Wikotska. Whew.
Yeah, he's got her hooked up here. You know what? I would love to see a caution, because I would love to see what Nelson and Hill would have for him if they could get free and clear and equal tires.
All right. We look at there as we ride on board with Kotska. Somewhere up there is Thomas Ogle. I don't know where he is, but he's there somewhere. Okay, I want to talk about this driver. Let's look at car number 77, racing in 13th position. Roger Hurley. I haven't talked much about him. He's having a nice run. Started in 22nd, racing in 13th right now. Working on the back of the number 9, Brian Lynch. We've been jumping around a bit, so let's stay on this. How about we give these guys a full lap together here, if everyone will behave. We'll keep an eye on
77 dives to the inside here.
There he goes. Well, I was going to give you a full lap, but if you get the pass made so quickly, I think that story is told. Well done.
I guess he knew you were watching, so put on a show for you.
All right, let's look at Isaac. He's got to the outside with the nose underneath. Now is Isaac with the 59 of fault stuck on top. Looks to me like the bottom line is beginning to prevail. I don't know if that's because tire wear is different, but it looks like the inside line is the way to go.
Yeah, I think with the tires going away, the carrying the speed on the outside, I think it becomes a little harder and harder, because you can't get back into the gas earlier because you don't have the grip. It kind of equals out now that you're on the bottom, and you can drive off the bottom and straight out to the wall and actually get a better launch at this point than you can letting her roll around the top and picking the throttle up early.
All right, all you little soldiers in Soup's clipboard army, I was going to get you to write down lap number 44. I wanted to write down the interval between Foles and Nelson, but really, by the time I got it out of my mouth, Nelson has closed the gap. It was just 6 car lengths. Now it's down to 4. Here he comes. Look at the line that the 78 takes. He gets the left side tires all the way down on the rumble strips down there. I know they're not rumble strips, but he goes farther down than anybody else on the track.
He does, and he's made it work. But last time I saw him get off that corner, that back end step around. So, you know, I do wonder if those tires are starting to kind of equalize and then not be able to get around them.
All right, so we have one driver making a pit stop. It's Massey. We're not sure if it's a strategy or if he needs to do it. We think they can go about 70 to 75, maybe 80 laps. Well, let's not overestimate. The way these guys race, maybe 75. Nelson just drifted up. I was watching him and slid the right sides up in the wall.
Yeah, he's having a little bit more of a challenge staying on that white line there. But yeah, Massey must have been a pit stop, because he got service and back out on the track he went. And you know what? And the Massey's going to come out on the track here in the middle of the backstretch, right in front of this battle. He's going to have better tires. This should be interesting.
You know, I don't think they can get to, maybe they can get to the end from here. It seems like it would be silly to pit now, but maybe some guys are going to try to do, I guess, the undercut. What my dad used to call the early peel, late reveal. You peel off for a pit stop early, we forget about you and what shows up later.
Nelson just caught the wall hard. But now look at the 05 next to the 83. There's new tires versus the older tires. Big run up off the bottom out of the corner.
You know what? And if he really hustles, we're talking about the 05 of Tommy and Massey here. John, if he hustles, he might be able to get his lap back.
Yeah, he's going to have to really stand on it. But you know what? I don't know if I'd be too keen to do that. I think I would just try to still manage my tires here, and because everybody else is going to have to pit anyway. But if you can manage your tires, crack some good laps, you could probably, the guys that you're racing, you could probably get an advantage on them.
Fascinating. All right, well, after Nelson has put the car in the wall several times, he's decided that maybe I'll take it down to the low side, working on Fultz. He has not been able to get around Fultz. Fultz, to me, looks smoother. I know Nelson is hustling, but I think Nelson is just really working hard to get that car to go places. Fultz seems to be very smooth.
Yeah, and Soup, to kind of give you a perspective of how much fall off are in the tires, they're now making laps a second and a half slower than they were early on.
Oh, that's music to a Massey's ears, boys. He's one of those guys who made the stop. Very quickly,
Nelson
Director.
getting around Fultz.
Yep. Let's look at car number 11, Tom Ogle. I know this doesn't seem like a story, but I've done enough broadcasts with Ogle that you never can count him out. So there he is. We don't need to see him. He's still back there on the lead lap. Up to 17th. Let's look at Koska right now. He's got some lap traffic to deal with. This is Torrance the Kid Childs. He makes quick work of him.
And we got another one on pit road.
Looks like Self has come in for a stop. Things are beginning to settle down. We look in this battle of the 59 now of Fultz. Well, we just saw Fultz lose that spot to Nelson, and now he loses another one to Hill. Don't be surprised if Sean doesn't make a stop here pretty soon. I don't think he likes the way things are going.
Yeah, I think, with the tire wear where it's at, I would be really surprised if one of these folks in the top 10 don't try to do the short pit and get in there and get some new tires to see how far up the track they can get. Fultz would be a great candidate to go do it. I mean, to be honest with you, he's still got those guys right in front of him. If he went out there and was able to run 3 or 4 laps, at a second and a half quicker, when everything cycles through, those guys are going to have to really work hard to catch back up with him.
We started with 24 drivers, 20 still on the lead lap. Drivers who are a lap down. Childs, Negas, Amasi, and Self. Now some of the guys have made pit stops. Negas is struggling. Amasi, we know what he can do. How many cars? Let's look at Mamasi real now and see where is he compared to the leader. Well, it's right behind him. Let's look at him. Let's ride on board with the number 5. As he starts to run down.
That's how big of a difference new tires makes.
Remember, he wasn't even close to the front when he made that pit stop. So he made the stop, lost a lap, and now he's come all the way around from that stop. And he's going to get that lap back.
Now, Soup, keep this in mind. We're going 130 laps. halfway.
Wait, I can do the math. 65.
So, can these guys that did the short pit, they may have to make a second stop. These other guys like Koska and these guys that are staying out, maybe they can do it on one stop.
Oh, Massey just made a shot at getting his lap back, and it didn't go well. I
He's
thought
gonna
he was
get him
gonna
on the
drift up
outside.
into the leader. Tried better. I think a pit stop is coming here. Nope. He was just moving to giving him the outside. Boy, that is some smart driving from Andrew Koska.
Yes.
That is just wise. Cousins makes this pit. Childs makes a pit, but nobody's, Professor, up front. None of the guys we've been calling, Koska, Hislop, MacArthur, Isaac, Nelson, have come in. I think you're right. I think Fultz is a candidate.
Yeah, I think Fultz would be a candidate. But, especially now, if you think you can get 70 laps out, pit now. You're not going to be forced to in two-stop strategy. Those guys that pitted 5, 6, 7, 8 laps ago, I still think they can make it on one, but I question if their tires are going to make it to the end. But these other guys, I think they're shooting for halfway. I think you'll see them all come down here probably somewhere right after the halfway mark. Nelson and Hill are side by side.
And I believe that's Hill getting the spot back. I think Nelson is, he can't wait for the halfway mark. It cannot come soon enough for him. In fact, he might want to think about coming in a little before halfway. But
Nelson might be a good guy to do that. If he was a short pit and be able to make up some ground on Koska, eat some of that away. If Koska tries to run it to halfway, you'll get 3-4 laps, which could be 3 or 4 seconds on the track. I would take a shot at maybe pitting around the lap 60, 61 here.
Interval between Koska and Nelson. And we talked about Nelson because he has clearly been one of the fastest cars on the track.
Yep.
Compared to what he's had to do. 10 seconds between them. So honestly, if he were to come in early, 4 or 5 laps, he's cut that distance in half.
Well, and I think it would leapfrog him into second place for sure. So he wouldn't have anybody between he and Koska. Yeah, if I was Nelson or Hill, I would pit.
Can we look at the 82 of Hislop? He just got past like it was standing still, but it was because of Cousins. My goodness, Cousins on new tires. It was embarrassing the speed that he went around Hislop in the 80. Come on in, buddy. No, he doesn't listen.
Yeah, the tires have given up on the 7. Yeah, the tires have given up on the 78 now. McDaniel's now giving up, getting around the 78 there of Nelson.
And there we go. Our first pit stop from the guys up front. The number 12 of Medlin.
I think this is going to be a big advantage for him. I think if these other guys stay out 3 or 4 more laps, I think he'll take over second place.
Right sides goes up. I would think 4 tires are going to be.
Nelson's around. Nelson's around.
No caution.
Yeah, those tires, I was just saying those tires gave up now. Boy, that's going to take him out of contention for a win, I think. He's going to need a caution for sure.
And I'm not sure how that would have worked out for Medlin. He was in there, probably would have been to his advantage. Everyone would have slowed down.
He would be a lap down.
Yeah.
He'd get the wave around, though.
Yeah. Well, he's a lap down now, so let's keep an eye on Midland. Look at the guys.
Nelson doesn't pit. Wow.
John, somebody get a meatball flag?
Yeah, Chris Bates has one, which means he's got damage, the 81 car. He might have blown a tire. He's on the apron going into pit road. If we see this I'm going to say he probably blew a tire. That's what happens in soup. You've experienced this in BRL. Guys run out of tires, the meatball flag comes on, and you cannot drive the car.
Boy, Hill came in awfully fast.
No flag. Hill got it rode up.
The driver I want to focus on right now is Scott Negus, car number 94. He's a lap down, but he's the leader of all the cars who have pitted. I want to draw a little comparison as the pit exit here between Negus and Hill.
MacArthur's coming in.
Better yet, between Negus and MacArthur. MacArthur comes in while he's in third. So many things to think about. I want to correct myself. I said that Negus was, but isn't I thought Massey was ahead of, but I guess not. And Massey pitted first, but Negus is still the leader. All the cars that have pitted. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to do something here that I wish they do more on broadcast TV. Let's go ahead. We're focused on two guys. MacArthur, who's just in pit lane, and we'll see now if we can pick up Negus. Negus is coming out of 4. I'm not sure. Is this for? This has got to be for position, I think.
Oh, somebody missed pit road.
Back. Oh, the big guys are all on pit road now.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Tires are popping here.
Koska has come in. Well, John, they got to halfway, but barely.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, the guy that I'm going to be really interested to see where he shakes out is Medlin. Medlin came in, he was running about
Exactly.
4th, 5th, and up there with the leaders. So he came first of the very leaders. When these things shake out, I cannot wait to see where Medlin is.
And had the pace to race with the guys up front.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Koska overshot his pit a little bit. He had to back up some.
He had a big enough lead.
So I believe everybody now making those stops. Medlin out of 3 and 4. Koska is rolling. And he got up to 9th. All right. But racing in 5th position, car number 94, Scott Negus. He didn't get all the way to the front, but he picked up a ton of track position. The only problem is, as we look at the 94, he's about to be taken over by Jerry Isaac. That car has the 94's been out there for a while, though. So it's a pay me now, pay me later type thing. About 20 laps between the tires that Negus has on the other guys. The question is, and I would think Scott's a pretty wise guy. He probably knows that he has enough fuel to get to the end. But I honestly don't think he could get to the end on the tires if he tried.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a 2-stop deal for him. But yeah, we're over halfway and yet to see a caution. So, you know, this just has that feel of one of those caution-free races.
Who's your race leader right now, folks? It's kind of pointless, but let's give him some love. Car number 11, Tom Ogle. He's the only driver not to pit yet, but maybe technically that's not correct. I don't know if a drive pass-through is a pit stop. Let me look on my timing and scoring and see if they call it a pit stop. They do not. Okay, what Ogle needs right now, Professor, am I right about this? If a caution were to come out, Ogle could come in, he would be at the very back, but at least he could come and get his pit stop and he wouldn't go a lap down. He comes in now, that yellow flag would have been nice. So it's all going to sort out. And when it's all said and done, Koska is going to have a lead of, I can't even tell you till the timing and scoring actually, about 3 seconds. No, that's on Ogle, who's in pit lane. So I guess it's Jerry Isaac.
Yeah, and
Isaac's racing in third.
And Isaac pitted about 2, maybe 3 laps, I think, before Koska. So, and Koska had a 10-second lead before the pit stop started. So that's how big of a difference, just a couple of laps, 2-3 laps, I think, difference in pitting. Cut a lot of that time out.
All right. Ogle coming out, losing positions 19th and falling. You know, Professor, they don't listen to us. Sean Foltz was racing up front. The car was fading on him, and he just stayed out there. And by the time everything sorted out, he's in 11th.
Yep.
That didn't go well for him.
Yeah, the guys that stayed out, I think, paying a little bit of a price. But, I mean, MacArthur came in, what, second, third, and then he's all the way back to fifth. The only one that's in, yeah, Hill held serve.
Nelson looped it, so that really doesn't count, but he's down in 13th.
No, but the big winner was the 51 of Isaac, so Isaac was running, you know, fifth, I think, and now he's leapfrogged himself up into second. I don't know where he pitted with in regards to everybody else, but yeah, he can see he can see Koska. I'll tell you that. I mean, you can see him in the corner and throughout the corner, and Koska's got a lot of traffic in front of him. And this is a home race, and I should say, Isaac, you know, this is a home race for him. You know, he only lives probably about 35 miles from this track. He can leave here, and if he, you know, doesn't have to worry about traffic, he'll be home in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
All right, well, if you are news, we look at Koska negotiate some lap traffic there. If you want to get into sim race commentary and you want to learn a lesson, let Soup teach you something here, boys and girls. Whenever you do a run through the field, it'll bring out the caution. So we're going to try it right now. John, we'll do them two at a time. We'll go through the field, all the cars on the lead lap. I'll start with your leader, Andrew Koska, started on the pole. That's where he is right now. And he has a 2.5 second lead back to Jerry Isaacs in second. Now, both of those guys are about on the same pit strategy. They've been about, just a tuck over 10 laps. Who you got in third?
Yeah, and just real quick, Isaac has really cut that lead down. That traffic really held Koska up here. So, but going back to third is going to be James Hislop, who's been quietly in the top 5 all day. He started about fourth, so yeah, he's been in the top 5 from the get-go. So he is doing what he needs to do to advance to the next round. Behind him is Dan Hill, once again having a strong run here. He's passed a lot of guys himself. Started back in 13th, is all the way up to 4th here. One of the stronger cars, I would have to say, you know, early on in this race. I think if caution, this could be one of the guys that might have a shot to actually get up there and race against Koska. But Koska has continued to lose ground to Isaacs.
We'll check in on that as we work our way through. We don't want to miss that as Isaac begins to run him down. Racing in 5th is Dwayne MacArthur, the driver who has locked himself into the next tier of the playoffs. You know what? I was gonna call him the General, and now I find out that Shaggy calls him the General. That's a good name for MacArthur. Behind him in 6th is Clay Walker. Now Walker, I'll take the next one. Has just the Andrew Medlin has got there too. The guy who's falling, as we look back in 8th position, then I'll turn it back over to you for 9th. Scott Negus has those old tires. He's dropping. He was up as far as like 3rd or 4th. Now he's down into 8th. Who you got?
Yeah, and the other thing for Negus too is I don't know if those tires will last him, so he's going to have to probably make a second stop, which is going to, you know, be even a bigger penalty than just losing grip. After Negus is Greg McDaniel. Pretty consistent day. Started P7, running around 9th after the pit cycle. My guess is he'll improve that as soon as he catches Negus there. I'm sure he'll make quick work of Negus. So Greg McDaniel running 9th, and then you're running at your top 10 is Sean Foltz.
Robert Crisco, he's been out there on this set of tires for 17 laps. He races just outside the top 10.
Yeah, Roger Hurley is also doing really well there in 12th. He's moved up 22nd to 12th, so gained 10 positions since the start of the race. And I do believe Roger, if I'm not mistaken, Roger was one of the ones that had an EOL. So in all reality, he probably started 23rd, 24th, something like that.
The driver we have not talked about at all is the 00 of Lloyd Moore. Lloyd started in 20th. He's worked his way up to 13th.
Yeah, and Brian Lynch Yeah, Brian Lynch is sitting 14th, and he's in front of Tom Ogle, and Tom really needs to, needs that caution. He got the penalty early that's kind of sunk his race, but he's had a nice job recovering. He's back on the lead lap. He is a playoff driver, so he needs good runs here. 15th, I don't know if 15th will do it. He had a good run last week. He'll need a good run next week too, but 15th, boy, that puts you, that's not really where you want to be running if you want to move on to the next round.
And the racing gods know how to set things up very nicely. And we said we'd run through all the cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is Courtney Nelson. And you know what? I was just thinking here out loud, if MacArthur is the general, can Nelson be the admiral? No, that doesn't work. All right.
Nelson was actually a top 5 car, and I think he was a top 3 on pace.
Oh yeah.
He got kind of a squirrely coming out of 4 there, and almost, I think he barely got on the wall if he even got into it at all, but that just killed his track position.
But I think now if a yellow were to come out, I wonder, I would think you'd almost have to come in for tires, even if you're the guys up front. I don't think you could afford to let Nelson
100%.
be in 16th on a new set of tires. And I think Koska might have issues if that were the case.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this too. If we think that Isaacs might be faster than Koska, he just got on. They both of them just got through the traffic, so there's no cars between the two of them as we watch another battle here. But now keep a note on that time and see if Koska stretches it out with no traffic.
All right, when you get to the later parts of the race, it's hard to find battles, but we've got one for you. The 28, Robert Frisco, sitting there in 11th position, now under attack from the 77 of Roger Hurley. The car up in front of him, that is Nicholas Self. He's one lap down.
And Chris Bates is, I guess he must have had some electronical gremlins because he's pulled it back to the garage area, so he's done for the day.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to pull the curtain back here on VGN and the personalities behind the microphone here. When I knew I was subbing today, I volunteered to substitute for Shaggy because he's a good guy, but I did not realize it was opening day of the NFL. If I had known that, I might have withheld my, I would not have raised my hand as we look at this battle here. But I'll tell you, if they're going to make me commentate on the opening day of the NFL, they are giving me a great show. Look at Hurley now. Boy, Hurley thought he was going to peek in there. Then he just thought better of it. My goodness, the discretion from these guys is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, they race hard when they need to. They battle, where they need to. But they also, like I said, nobody makes knuckleheaded decisions. They make good decisions. And decision-making on a racetrack, Soup, in my opinion, is every bit as important as being fast. You can be the fastest guy on the track, but if you do a bunch of stupid stuff on the track, you're either going to get yourself wrecked, you're going to wreck somebody else, you're going to damage your car in a way that you're no longer the fastest guy. Decision making, I think, is top of the board, most important thing about a driver.
I would like to know the screening process to get into the OBLR, because man, these guys are.
Well, they're strict on the rules.
Okay.
We'll use Todd Cousins as an example here. Todd Cousins is a relatively new driver. He has got the 102 on his car. They have a ski.
That can't be good.
Well, no, it's when you join. I have a 3-digit number because I have not raced with them enough to get out of it. They screen them as they come in. If you're joining the OBRL, you've got to run, I think it's about 12 races, prove that you're, not a knucklehead, and then you can get a 2-digit number. If at the end of that, anytime during that time that you have a triple digit, if you get out of whack and you're not doing the things that is expected from league members, they tell you this league is not the league for you. I mean, it's a good process.
So a triple digit number doesn't mean you are absolutely a knucklehead, just that you might be a knucklehead. So
it might be. It just means that you could be a newer knucklehead, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm a knucklehead. I've got it on there, so you know what? I'll take it. But, yeah, it's a neat process that they do. It's a pretty well thought out process. It gives people a good chance to see exactly who they're letting in their league. If they cause a problem instantaneously, my guess is probably some of the, I hate to use the word elders, but I'm sure some of the powers to be within the league probably pull that driver aside and said, hi, either, pull your head out of where or go race somewhere else. I'll bet those kind of conversations happen. And for the record, I haven't had that conversation yet. So,
getting to know a few of the drivers is Scott Negus, as Greg McDaniels just went around him, and Foltz went around him as well. Negus is just doing the best he can. He's in a tough situation. He's got old tires and a long way to go. Still 40 more laps to get to the end. He needs a caution flag. Ogle needs a caution flag. And John, another thing we can talk about, you talked about this. I was impressed when you told me the rules in the race package. What is the incident level? Like 8 or 9 here 9. Or something?
It's 9.
How many series have we done oval where the oval incident race limit is like 18, 20? Come on, what's the point? Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, I've seen some leagues where at the end of the night, I've seen the incident levels like up in the 20s, and it's just like, really?
I realize it's not an indicator of what kind of driver you are. You can get caught up in other people's stuff, but 8. If you get to 9 incidents, you should go to the Amelia Earhart Bar and Grill and watch the race with her.
Well, you're in St. Louis, so you should go find the Cybergs and go eat there. But
there you go.
We're about to see a battle for second and third. But real quick about talking about that, the thing about the incident level not only means you need to keep your car clean, but the other drivers have to have that same worry. So it does promote that cleaner racing. Short tracks, maybe that number could go a little higher just because it's close quarters racing. But yeah, I mean, everybody's in the same boat. Nobody wants those incident points, and that's why you see the give and take. That's why you see, guys making good decisions with the cars, because they want to bank those incident points. They don't want to run around the half a race knowing they can't touch or make a mistake. That's not a lot of fun.
Cinderella has a curfew, as you saw the 84 of Scott Negus. Had to come in before the 94, before his NASCAR machine turned to a pumpkin. So he makes his second stop, and he'll be flying now, but he'll be so far behind. It'll be academic.
Well, he's got 35 laps to try to do something here, 36 laps here to do something. That's a lot of time, and think about that. Remember, a 1.5 second difference. That's 30 seconds. That's a lot of time you can make up on a track.
I think so. All the guys who pitted early are going to come down, and Massey's coming down.
Yeah, if the leaders don't pit, 30 seconds is a lot of time to make up here. So we'll have to see whose strategy was good and whose wasn't.
I think maybe we might see Terrence Childs maybe make a stop. Another guy, Nicholas Self, is going to have to come in.
Yeah, all those guys that pitted probably right around lap 60-ish. Those are the guys, maybe even some of them were in the 50s. Yeah, those are the guys that'll be in pit road now.
So here's the deal. We know that Andrew Koska is fast, but honestly, we have not seen him race. And when the tires wore out, I noticed that some guys were really good on old tires and some guys weren't. It'd be interesting if Isaac could maybe get up there and pressure him a bit. Make Koska work.
Well, Isaac, I've been looking at the lap times. Isaac's been a little quicker than him on most of the laps, but when I say little, it's just not enough to put big, we're talking hundredths of a second. You need to be digging in the tenths of a second, not the hundreds, and that's if you go back though, and like I said, it just not enough to really dig in there. Now there's traffic between the two of them.
0.3 of a second that lap.
Yep, but he was behind traffic.
Koska was.
Traffic. Yeah, that's gonna affect that time. Yeah, and the thing is though, it slowed Koska down, but now Isaacs is getting to that traffic. Now this is where you can see gaps close. Can Isaacs get around this traffic quicker than what Koska did? If you can do that, if Isaacs can do that, that's going to be a significant gain in track position.
Can we go to a blimp shot or an overhead shot, director, so maybe we can see the distance between some of these guys, between Koska? Give the viewers, okay, so there's Koska right now. There we go. Now, can we look back at Isaac? There you go. And then it's not that far to Hislop. Look at this. Hislop is right there as well.
Yeah,
there he is.
Hislop was right on his on Isaac's bumper here, and I don't know if Hislop has just kind of used up his tires a little bit to get there, because Isaac's now has kind of stretched it back out a little bit on Hislop.
Yep, back up to over 3 seconds for Koska. John, I'll tell you right now, if I didn't know these guys, if I didn't know the reputation of this series, so many times I've done broadcasts and we start talking about strategy and going green the whole way, and it's just nonsense because it never goes green the whole way. But in a broadcast like this, with these guys running, the strategy is so much because I'm not sure if a yellow is going to come. If a yellow comes, it wipes the slate clean, and heck, who knows? Ogle is in the running then.
Soup, what's funny is I've interviewed a lot of these guys now on that podcast, and I've asked that very question, about, how do you feel about it? Because you don't know that a caution's going to come. And I'm going to tell you, it is in the back of each and every one of these drivers' mind as they're figuring out when they want to pit, because they know they may not see another caution.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's just wonderful, and I'm glad we can bring it to you here on VGN every Sunday night. And it's not just tonight. I knew what I was getting in for, and it makes missing a little NFL. Oh, come on. I have one of those DVR type things where you record it, so I'm not missing anything. Who am I kidding? Hey, let's look at this. We haven't heard much from Lloyd Moore. He'd like to pick up this spot as he's working on. Robert Greasy Crisco here as he tries to, doesn't get it.
Yeah, and the other thing I thought about with Koska leading this race, and he's not pulling back out on Isaacs. You know what? If I'm Koska, I'm not driving it that hard just to save my tires for those few extra laps. Yeah. I'd let that lead get all the way down to maybe 2 seconds before I was too worried about it.
Koska's 28 laps. He wants this thing to go green all the way. This is his last thing he wants is a caution. We had a near one when Nelson looped it around, but the racing stewards had somewhere to go, and they just didn't throw it. Kept it rolling, did Nelson?
Yeah, ironically, Nelson would have been better served if he locked it down and brought the caution out. That battle for second starting to heat back up here with Isaacson and Hislop.
And don't think the Koska isn't watching this. The gap has stretched to about 3.5 seconds now between Koska and Isaacs, but
yeah, I think Koska was just taking care of his tires for the first 20-30 laps of this run.
So James Hislop's gonna take a shot at second.
Yep, and James parked it in victory lane at Atlanta this year and did a nice job there winning that race. So he's a guy that can contend here, and both of these guys are in the playoffs, and you know what? I don't know how hard I'd fight right here. This is a good spot. Got to put you in a good spot for next week to continue on and make the next round.
The extra points would be nice. Well, Tom Ogle never got that yellow flag that he needed. He's racing now in 13th position.
Still a nice recovery for having to make a pit stop under green flag and not getting a caution to help you out in the process. That's a heck of a recovery.
Ogle's got a buffet laid out in front of him there. He just got he just got one car for position, and now Ogle pulling up around behind. This is not for position on the outside, but the 28 of Crisco is. Oh, this is a tough spot. He's behind the lapped car. But now the 6, that could be, might have faster tires. Thomas might be quick out there. He is not. Oh, no. 3 wide. Oh, and Ogle gets a little bit of the wall. Oh, and Koska's back there saying, settle down, boys. So let's stay on this now, because this is truly exciting.
And Courtney Nelson's actually back there. Yeah, mix it up, mix it up. I need to catch you guys.
Indeed. All right, so that's more now that he just got around again. Now working on the lapped car of Thomas. That went easier this time. Much easier to do that 2 wide than 3. And now he can set his sights on Crisco. That was fun. Tommy Go-Go Ogle putting on a show.
And Lloyd Moore tried to follow him through there, and it finally gets that done. Massey follows him through, so that kind of settled down here for a little bit. They'll pick back up probably when they catch Garisco.
Like to keep checking in on these stories we're watching, just like we were in the stands watching. We check back in, see how it's going. We'll check back in on Jerry Isaac and his. Now, Koska had some issues there as he needs to get around the lapped car. Well, this is a battle that I was hoping to see, but I didn't think I'd see it in this way. Nelson and Koska. Nelson trying to stay on the lead lap. The interval now from Koska back to second, 4.4.
And just for the record, Koska has definitely picked it up. His lap times, I've been looking, he's stood on it a little bit.
And just to follow in, Koska 2/10 faster than Isaac's. And remember, his lap was running down Isaac. Well, that has failed. His lap is either Isaac said enough of this and started to pull away, or his lap run out of stuff.
Maybe a combination of both.
Yeah. Also, maybe Koska making a little bit of a statement to Dwayne MacArthur. MacArthur, the general, he has been a big name all season long. And here's Koska taking it to him. We still have some battles going on. Okay, that is Medwin on the outside and McDaniel on the inside. I got that right? Yep.
Sean Foltz is right behind.
And there's Foltz.
And I think there's a guy right behind them on brand new tires that's going to be way faster than these guys.
Yeah, it is. Torrance the Kid Childs is coming. He's got how long has he been out there? Not very long, by the way he's racing. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's got 8 lap
faster.
8 lap old tires, and he's just having fun right now.
Yeah, but you know what? He's being pretty respectful.
Look at that.
He's not getting up there and messing with those guys.
Oh, I give him a tip of the hat because he was flying.
Oh, yeah, he could get up there and pass all 3 of them pretty easy, my guess is. But like I said, that's the kind of thing that you see here in OBRL. You know, he knows what the deal is. He knows he's not competing with those guys. Don't get up there, you know, this late in the race and you know, become a reason, you know, somebody else has a bad week. Plus, those guys are all playoff racers, too, and Child is not. So that's good stuff there to see that.
With 18 laps to go, this is not what Andrew Koska wants to see, though. This battle here between 3 competitive guys on old tires. And it might even be a 4-car battle as they're beginning to run down Greg McDaniels. McDaniels out in front. Here's side by side now. It's going to happen. That's Foltz getting to the inside. Medlin lets him go.
Now, Foltz also, I think, was one of those guys that pitted early. No, he didn't pit early. We told him he should have pitted early, and he didn't.
Yeah.
But Medlin is one of the guys that pitted early. I think he was the earliest of them, all the leaders. So that's not surprising to see McDaniel and Foltz now work their way back around them.
You are correct, sir. Medlin has a 6-lap differential, disadvantaged on tires between them, and boy, he's a better driver than he's showing right now. You can see the tire wear really paying off. Again, before we leave this battle, a tip of the hat to that driver that was back there, Childs, with those fresh tires, is waiting back there. Eventually, he's going to need to go, but at least he waited till that battle settled down. They've all spread out now. Well done. Good driving up front, good driving at the back.
Yeah, and 3rd and 4th have kind of found each other now on the track. Hill has reeled in his lap.
Hill apparently with the podium streak, huh?
I think ever since he put that black cat on there, I said it once on the podcast, I think or not the podcast, but the broadcast, and he painted a black cat on that car, and evidently that black cat's brought him a little luck.
James Hislop had visions of taking second spot from Jerry Isaac. Well, that didn't work out, and now he's got to worry about hanging on to the podium, and I don't think, from what I'm seeing, I think the 7 of Hill looks very strong.
Yeah, and he's pushing the 92, and that means the 92 is probably running up just a little bit harder than he wants, which translates to probably eating your tires up a little bit more. Still plenty of time here. I mean, we're, just under 20 laps to go to the end here, so Hill can still be patient here. Now, Sue, we talk strategy all race, right? So
yeah.
Now we get to the final 5 or 6 laps, and that's going to become, if we get a caution at that point, yowzers. There's some tough decisions that have to be pit. I think everybody will pit. But boy, if I was in the very, very back, I'd be tempted not to.
Oh, I think I would too. If they pit if the yellow comes out, Costa is cooked, because I think there'll be a lot that don't.
Yeah, I think everybody would. I really do. I think everybody in the top 10 would definitely probably pit. It's the guys. If I was running at the tail end of the lead lap, I'd probably think about not doing it. I mean,
You think that Courtney Nelson is going to come in? He's racing 14th last car of the lead lap, going to come in for a pit stop if a caution were to come out right? No way in heck is that going to happen. That guy's going to run it on the rims and see what he can get.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think, okay, you're sitting 14th. So, all right, so right. 10 guys past you. That's still a net loss gain.
And Lloyd Moore has no hope of finishing any higher than 13th. That's where he's right now. So, yeah, stay out there. And, worst thing that can happen if they all pass you finish 13th.
That's if you feel comfortable on your tires, because the last thing you want is that meatball flag. That's the other catch of it. Only that driver knows how hard they've been on those tires. So as the laps get winding down here, there's a lot of things still on people's mind. Koska's, no caution. We don't need them. One better not happen. Some other guys, I think, might not frown too much if they get one, as long as they're not the caution.
Right on board with Dan Hill, who is running out of time. He continues to prowl, working both sides of the street like a jaywalking milkman is. Dan Hill trying to find
both of them got
around.
Loose.
Yep.
Both of them just got loose. They're pushing, and then the last time through, coming out of 4, Hislop caught the wall there too. Boy, Hill's just rolling the center better than Hislop. But Hislop is getting off the corner a little better. Off the corners a little better than Hill.
Well, they've been out there, these guys, for 54 laps. This will be 55 right now. That's exactly when we saw things start to go south for everybody before that first pit stop. They were really struggling, and it looks just like it right now. These guys are at it. Any risk, John, of them actually running out of tire and being forced to pit?
Yeah, people were running out of tire, lap 62, 63. These guys, I think, pitted. I don't. You have to check my math here, but I think even the leaders, I don't think they got to halfway. I think some of them pitted around like 60. Yes.
Yeah.
So you're asking to even go a couple laps longer on the tires. So
indeed,
I'd be nervous. I mean, if I'm Koska, I probably do start backing up to second and saving it as much as I can.
That and telling everybody else to behave. He does not want a caution. Last thing he needs is his lap to get into an issue with
we're under 10 laps now.
Yeah.
So
and Hill is working.
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm watching Hill, and even that rolling the center now has kind of stabilized. Those guys are just kind of evened out here. So, but Hill's going to have to do something here in the next couple 2-3 laps for sure. And there's going to be a lap car here, so you don't want that to become part of the equation.
Let's look at Clay Walker, car number 2. He is on a fly and roll here. He's coming up on the general. I think he's going to get to Wayne MacArthur really quick. The car is coming. Take a quick look at pit stop.
Isaac's just had a really big problem. Isaac's had a really big problem coming out of 2. I don't know if his tires had gone out. I just caught the very end of it. I don't know what happened to him, but he was all the way down at the apron of the track when Hislop and Hill come the corner. Now those three are like almost on top of each other.
Looking at it, he got loose out of 2, put it up almost in the wall, came all the way down to the bottom. I think he had to get out of the throttle.
Hill,
big
and we
time.
got Hill.
Oh, they get us
Game of
out.
inches. Hislop is not going to yield this spot. Boy, that number 9, though, looms large in front of him. That's a lap car.
That is Brian.
No, but you know, the thing about, and even though the 9 might not be directly holding him up at this point, I can tell you the dirty air off the 9 is affecting him at this point.
So now Hill, though, has his lap is done. I don't think we have to think much of him. I think 4th position is where he's going to finish. Hill has visions of getting to Isaac because Isaac is really struggling as well.
Yeah, and the big question is how quick can he get around the number 9 here? I think that 9, I think the dirty air from the 9 affects the 7. I mean, I'm watching him go in the corner, and I mean, he goes right up onto him, and now he's got to slow down even more not to run into the back of the 9. So we'll see what happens here on corner exit. 9 moves down to get out of his way.
Give a nice little...
But he's,
give a lift. There's the lift. Well done. Hey, at your next Backmarker United chapter, when you go there, make sure to give
3 laps. While we're watching that, these laps are clicking off. We're working on lap 127.
Indeed.
Why couldn't they made this? They should have made this a 150 lapper.
I want to check back in here on MacArthur and Walker. Walker got held up a little bit as he's working around the 4 of Dakota Pischke. He gets that done. And now Walker has made up the time. He's got a good run off of 4. He's going to lose all the momentum. Bad timing from Walker as he comes up on the back of MacArthur. Oh, let's go to the leader. He's still got a little bit to work on here. He's got Victor Lane, Andy Thomas, Lloyd Moore, all laps down. If I'm Andrew Koska, I'm happy where I am right now. 2 laps to go. I had a nice cushion. What about we stay behind these guys?
I can assure you that's probably what he's going to do.
That just looks like...
In fact, I'd probably back up a little further than he is because those guys are racing. I wouldn't want somebody to end up in my lap if something goes south.
Looks like a great way to snatch a defeat out of the jaws of victory, getting up in there. He comes across the line, white flag waving. We've raced 130 laps. He's led 126 of them. Only other guy to lead laps was Thomas Ogle, and that was because of the pit cycle. What a fine race. If watching Bagger Vance has taught me anything, I know that in every driver there is one pure, authentic race. Something that can't be taught, can't be learned, it has to be remembered. Something that's yours and yours alone. Today is an example of that type of race. Andrew Koska gets the win and secures a spot in the playoffs. Jerry Isaac will finish 2nd. Hill hangs on to 3rd. Hislop, MacArthur, and Walker. The racing is over here. The broadcast is not. We'll take a short break, then come back and run down the entire finishing order, talk to some of the drivers before we put a lock on the gate. You know who you're watching? The Virtual Grip Network. From Worldwide Technology Raceway, it's the OBRL's round 28 of their Sunday Night Cup Series, sponsored by YesterYear Racing, and you're watching it on the Virtual Grip Network. All right, the results are in. Let's give them to you now. I'll take the top 10, turn the rest over to my partner. Well, he led them up almost all the laps except for 3. We're talking about Andrew Koska, as now he secures himself into the round of 12 with the playoffs, joining Dwayne MacArthur, who finished in 5th position. Between those two were Jerry Isaacs, Dan Hill, and James Hislop. They put on a nice show. In 6th position, it was Clay Walker. Did his very best to get around the general, but just ran out of time. Greg McDaniels had a very quiet 7th. That's where he started. That's where he finished. Sean Foltz was very competitive. We encouraged him to make a stop earlier. Who knows what could have happened? He has to settle for 8th position. Andrew Medlin started in 6th, finishing in 9th, and then last car in the top 10, up 12 spots, and probably didn't get enough attention from us, is Roger Hurley. Nice run from him, 22nd to 10th. Partner?
And a great recovery for Tom Mogul. Had to make a drive through the pit area under green flag and not to catch a caution to help eliminate that deficit. He was able to drive his car all the way back to the 11th spot. Courtney Nelson was a factor early, slicing and dicing through the field. Found a little bit of trouble coming off of turn 4, ends up 12th. Robert Garisco comes home 13th, Lloyd Moore 14th, Brian Lynch 15th, Scott Negus, who had an up and down day with pit strategy, is going to finish 16th, Dakota Pischke 17th, Andy Thomas 18th, Victor Lane 19th, and Nicholas Self, he's going to round out the top 20.
Then just a few stragglers at the very back there. Thomas Massey, we thought he was going to be good. He put on a nice run, even though he finishes in the blackjack position. Todd Cousins. And then it was Terrence Childs, who was really fast at the end. Did a good job of staying out of the way of the guys who were on the lead lap. And Chris Bates, 54 laps down, found trouble early. With that said, can we talk to our race winner? I'm not sure how we do it here in the OBRL. We'll see if we can dial it up. Andrew Koska, it's Soup up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right. My guess is, getting down to the end, you were just hoping it stayed green.
Yeah, I was just hoping it was going to stay green the whole race. I mean, I know we can get a lot of green flag runs here in OBRL, and tonight was starting to have that feel, and I just wanted to definitely stay green there.
Now, you started the race. One of the big stories early on was Thomas Ogle was next to you, and I guess, I don't know if you know what happened to you. You were next to him, but we guess he jumped the start and maybe got that drive pass-through penalty, and that's the last we ever heard of him.
Yeah, that sounds like what happened to Tom there. I think he just got a nose ahead of me just before the start-finish line, and then, yeah, there was his penalty.
Okay, tire strategy. It looked to me like my partner and I were thinking, gee, they're going to, halfway was the mark for you, and it basically was what you were shooting for, huh?
Yeah, it felt like it was easy enough to kind of get to halfway with these tires in here, so yeah, it was the easiest strategy tonight, and yeah, it worked out. It seemed like everyone else pretty much went with that same strategy, at least in the top 10.
All right, well, you put yourself securely into the round of 12 coming up. Good luck to you. We'll keep an eye on you. Way to go.
Awesome, thank you.
And possibly your race winner today. All right, Professor, who you got?
I got our second place finisher, Jerry Isaacs. Well, Jerry, hometown race for you here, and boy, I tell you, you had a scare towards the end of that race there. What a save. What was going through your mind right after that?
Oh, you saw that, huh?
Just out of the corner of my eye.
So I was running with those guys, and they were dogging me, Dan and Jim. They were racing great and dogging me the whole time. And finally, I pulled my brake bias back to get away, and it helped. And I was able to drive away. And then I just lost concentration. My rears got hot, and yeah, I just kind of went all sideways. But I was just thinking, get it straight and get it going again, which I did, and then move my brake bias back forward where it should be, and then it was, it wasn't easy, but I was able to maintain after that.
Well, Koska kind of stunk up the show a little bit here, but what more did you feel like you needed? Because, I mean, I was watching your lap times post-pit stop Now he might have been laying up a little bit to save the tires, but what more do you feel like you? I mean, I guess better yet, where was he beating you at?
Anywhere
Your
he
lap
wanted.
times are your lap times weren't that far off.
He was I don't feel like he was pushing. I think he was just maintaining a gap. He had a lot more to go. I don't. There was nothing short of him wrecking I could have probably done.
Well, I'll leave you on this question. I'm just kind of curious. Did you look at your tire wear at the end of that race?
I did 30. So my first stint was 35. My second stint was 33.
Yeah, because there were some guys popping. There were some guys popping those tires.
Oh, were they?
Oh, yeah. I'm almost certain of it.
That was one of the things I was noticing when I was kind of watching Jim behind me is he was gaining on entry on every corner and I would pull away on exit. So I assumed he was just going in hotter. And yeah, that's going to, I'm not saying he popped a tire, but I think there were a lot of guys going into the corners pretty hot.
Yep. There's about 3 or 4 that I saw that popped tires. I don't think he was one of them, but yeah, it's a good way to pay for those tires a little bit later. But good run here. That sets you up in a good spot for next week and to move on to the next round.
Yeah, thanks. Next week's Bristol, so it's a little bit of a wild card. If you can keep it clean, you can probably have a good finish, but just can be a little crazy out there.
Well, awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck here next week. And anybody want to give a quick shout out to?
All the usual, man. Thanks to OBRL for putting it on. It's a great league. Lots of fun. VGN for broadcasting it. And hi, Mom.
What's Mom's name? What's Mom's name?
Ann.
Well, from VGN,
yeah,
we want. Yeah, I was gonna say from VGN, we want to say hi to Ann. So there you go.
There you go.
All right, Jerry. We'll see you. We'll see you next week, buddy.
All right. Hope to talk to you then.
Yep. Take care. That's Jerry Isaacs, our runner-up, and Soup. I think you got our third place finisher.
I got Dan Hill. Dan, I got 2 questions for you. The first one, 13th to 3rd. Happy with that?
I'm going to go with no. I'm a little bummed. I barely brushed the wall on my second lap in qual, and it would have been enough for the pole. So, but I am happy with the drive. I'm always happy when I can, make up for. Mistakes. So, I'll never turn down a podium.
Okay, now I want you to correct me if you think I'm mischaracterizing here, but I'm just learning you guys. It's my first broadcast with you guys, and I get to learn you guys. It seems to me that, of course, you're obviously faster when the tires are fresh. Everybody's struggling when the tires are old. It seems to me you're in an advantage when things are hard. Was that your take?
Yeah, I mean, I really was trying to say, especially the first, and I was really trying to save some tire just to see what happened. And, and it made a difference. But the problem is you just give so much up at the beginning. And, it's the tire model that we have. You pretty much got to go out there and almost feel like you're running qualifying laps. And, it makes it hard, but I tend to like to race that way because I have a hard time when I try to back off. It's actually usually when I start to make the mistakes.
And I'll get you out of here on this one. The nature of this series, the way that the race is clean and you have green flag runs so long, it's a totally different animal from what a lot of times we cover where strategy is really, it's fun to think about strategy, but there's always a caution flag that wipes it away and everybody's. In this series, you really got to think about how things are going to play out.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you have to practice, especially pit in and pit out because you can lose so much time just right there. And then you need to know like when the tire starts to fall off, what you should do, whether you should pit, short pit or long pit. Like it's you really have to actually like really think about stuff. These guys in this league are so good, and even the guys racing in the back of the pack are fast, and and it is just even lapping cars can be difficult in this league. So you really got to like take the time and practice, because one mistake and you go from finishing 5th to 20th, and it's just like that quick.
And it's a silly mistake in pit lane. Well done. We'll see you down the road.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you.
Dan Hill, your 3rd place finisher today. This was a fun one. We hope you enjoyed it whenever you're watching it. I'm guessing you're probably not watching it right now because well, it's about time for Sunday Night Football. But when that's done and you've cooked yourself a meal and the pizza is down to the crust and you want something to entertain yourself, go ahead, fire this up and have it with some crusty pizza. When are we going to be on again? Well, I'll tell you, the director's going to put that up. I've been told that the viewers are literate. They can read it for themselves, so I'll just leave it up there for you all to look at. The one thing I'd like to talk about is it's not showing up there, but if you ever get a chance to go back and watch any of the This Week in the Virtual Grip, what is it? It's Virtual Grip. It's VGN Weekly is the name of the show.
Weekly.
Man, It is good. My partner is the host of it. He does a great job, and it is just a great watch. Sometimes it's 45 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour and a half, depending how well it's going. You want to tune into that. We have lots of those. Those are fun. And if you don't see one this week, go back and watch an old one. They're great. I was on one. Watch mine. I was very entertaining. With that said, there you go. With that said, those broadcasts, Future Words, Past Ones, all a production of the Virtual Grip Network. We hope you enjoyed the show. On behalf of all those cute little faces you see right there, if you didn't, we'll try to do better next time. Until then, have fun, Storm of the Castle.